Welcome to Kaijudo 24/7. I'm Jared Oxider, and you are tuned in to our set review of Red for Invasion Earth. The newest set to come out here for Kaijudo for us in a couple of days, actually. 4 days as a recording. Should be hopefully 3 days by the time this video goes up. So let's hop right into it. Red. First up, we have 3 aerial bombardment. If your opponent has 6 or more shields, choose 3 of them. Your opponent puts those shields into his or her discard pile. Very odd. A very odd card. It's like a really late answer to multiple Andromeda triggers. It seems like to me. Obviously, the ability to choose 3 of your opponent's shields and just get rid of them rather than allowing them to shield break is a very strong effect. That's why we see it on a rare level spell. But it just seems so like by the time your opponent has stabilized that much in anything you're playing red in, it almost seems like they would be like even knocking 3 shields without giving them cards in hand or shield blast just doesn't seem like it would be enough. And that's not even to say the fact that this card does absolutely nothing if they don't have 6 or more shields. I mean, if they have something like even 5 shields, this card's like a dead card in hand. You could cast it if you had something in play that triggered off of you casting a spell just to get a spell out there, but otherwise knocking out, like, obviously extremely strong if they have extra shields. You feel like you're really far behind, your board's filled up, they haven't drawn their Storm Spark or their Cassiopeia to wipe your board, they haven't engaged to try and counter kill you, and then you rip this guy off the top, knock off 3 of the 6, assuming they're at just 6, and then they have 3 left and you have enough dudes to get in there and finish them off. Like, obviously that's like Christmas land, but it just seems so situational that it's just not flexible enough to be viable. So I would give this card a 2. Not I haven't given any cards a 1. I just really hate to do that when I haven't tested with it, but so yes, a 2/1 aerial bombardment here. Next up we have Blastforge Martyr, 6-drop Drakon, 1000 plus, fast attack, powerful attack 6000, and double breaker. Like, this is such a weird card. Like, 6 mana, you'd rather be playing like a Draglide. I mean, like, he has fast attack, but he's a Drakon. It's not like he's a Dragon where you'd be like making him cheaper with birds. Super weird. I guess like now you could play a list where it's just all fast attackers. You just play like blocker removal and then a lot of fast attackers, so all of your draws are live when they don't have any way to block. But I mean, 6 mana for a 1000 that turns into a 7000 when he attacks is just kind of eh. Oh, what I will say though, obviously, silly me, is that this is actually pretty good with a in something like Saberbolt. It'd probably be Saber Martyr, because obviously Bolt Tail Dragon was a double breaker, and that's what was kind of really, and a fast attacker, so that was what was really nice about him. And now we have a 6-drop fast attacker. So, I mean, feasibly, if they answer your Bronze Arm Sabretooth, then you can drop this guy off, no problem. It's like, it's almost as good as just having a spell, I would say, because there aren't a lot of things that can't counter swing into him, so it just seems a little peculiar. So I give this a 3. I mean, because a 6-drop fast attacker is still pretty strong. Just being able to drop it and swing with him right away, especially with 7k, you can counter swing into things like Lyra. That's the big one that pops up in my head, but I mean, he counter swings into stuff, so Emperor Neron, etc. So I guess he could trade with a Bronze Arm Sabretooth. Moving on, Drakon Upstart, 4-drop Drakon, 4k. Pretty straightforward. Can't say I'm impressed with this guy. You'd still rather play Draglide. for the fast attacker, or the war chief for, yet again, the fast attacking. A 1. Next up, Flame Fangs, 4K, banished target enemy creature has 4,000 or less. Again, we're getting another like non-shield blast red removal spell, which is, just so. Like, what they give up and not having a shield blast, they gain in like what they can hit. But I think just like power dependent removal is just not as good as level based removal, like we see in black or in green. That being said, this does hit a lot of things. I guess if you're like really committed to playing like mono red and just don't want to do a black splash, or you're playing red white, then this is just like a really solid removal. So I'd give it a 3, I guess. Like, it's just pretty vanilla flat. 2. I'll go 2. Like, it's pretty vanilla. 4 for 4K. No shield blast makes it. The art's pretty crazy. Was that? It's probably Burn Belly. Burn Belly just wrecking this poor. Well, that's interesting. I'm also stuck for a second. Burn Belly just wrecking this beastkin, I would assume. Well, next up we've got Galsaur, who was one of our early spoilers. 8 drop, 8,000, protector, double breaker, and each enemy creature attacks creatures each turn if able. Now, this is a very interesting one. It's like a global ninja pumpkin. Like, if this dude's tapped and he's the only dude on your side that's tapped, then everyone has to attack him. At 8 mana, I'm not sure I'm really convinced at how good this is, because then you do need to, like, as far as like stalling your opponent out, like, you do need to commit to attacking your opponent in order to have that be relevant, have them have to attack him. So that's kind of whatever. It just might be too little too late, I think. So I would give this guy, see, another 4-star. That's a little underwhelming. Maybe like a 3. I'd give him a 3, because like in the rush, if you do survive and then you have a bunch of blockers, then he's going to be very strong against any rush type of deck. Like, he's just going to be able to shut them down completely. Whereas Pumpkin, had to attack, and if they have the shield blast, they got you. If you have this guy and a bunch of blockers, I mean, you block with one dude, and all their dudes have to attack that blocker now. So I think that's something you could probably look into. So I'd go as high as a 3 on this guy. If it's 8, it's just because it's 8. 8's such an awkward number, I think. So, moving on. Mechanic. 3 drop, 3,000, protector, Burn Belly. Apparently we're getting some tribal support for these guys, so I mean, that's good. Cool. It's always nice to see like more tribal support. I know they keep like introducing certain tribes and then just not touching them for a couple sets, which is fine. So yeah, and I don't know, there's a whole lot to say about this guy until we get more Burn Belly support, so I'll probably just be good at probably a 2 or 3 for rating. Yeah, 2 or 3. Next up we have Ricochet Shot, which is a level 2 shield blast. Banish up to 2 target enemy creatures that each have 1,000 power or less. That's interesting. I think it's just sniping things that are too small. You would just rather play I don't know. Like, it can be a 2-for-1, but like the only thing it hits right now is Nyx and Nyx and Cyber Scamp and maybe Manitic. Like, it hits a few niche cards, but it doesn't really hit enough, I think. At 2 mana you can't really complain. Though, and it does shield blast. I mean, those are definitely like huge bonuses. So I could see this card like seeing play in like a really rush heavy meta. Hell, if you're just going like all in on your removal, this might be all right, just because it gives you like a really, really, really early answer to some aggressive things. So not terrible. I'd give it a 3 for sure. Next up, we're into green. So that's it for red. If you want to keep going to the playlist, next up we'll have green. If not, thanks for watching.